Hey guys, Joe, you're muted for some reason.
I cannot believe we're starting
Game
out with Joe on
previews.
mute.
It is week 5 game previews.
Oh, you're back. You're fine. We can hear you now.
What just happened?
The
All
poor
right.
audience, they're in for a treat today.
Hey, at least nobody's on just yet. I mean, the audio audience is
Yeah,
like,
but the audio audience
starting?
is
Are
listening
they?
to all of this.
Oh man, welcome everyone. If anyone's listening, and this isn't our usual, Joe is having technical issues. He's back. I was really letting him do the intro. So, Joe, you want to start over?
No, it's not week 4 game previews. It's not week 6 game previews. It's week 5 game previews, guys.
Oh, I love it. God damn. Man, it is gonna be a good one. I can just already tell. This is gonna be one of our best podcasts. If anyone could make it past the first 45 seconds, just know we're better than this. Okay.
Hey, it's week 5. We have to stumble at some point. It's just, we're not at our bye week yet. We're crawling towards it. Before we get into the previews, though, Josh, I actually want to throw it to you. You said you were going to watch the Toy Story broadcast of the football game. How did that go? And did you actually watch the full thing?
I did say I was going to do that, and then I ended up mowing the grass during that game. So I didn't watch the Toy Story one. I watched the ESPN one. That's my bad. Didn't realize it was going to be on ESPN as well. So I did not watch the Toy Story. I lied to all the listeners. But I assume it was just terrible. It can't be as worse as the Sunday or Sunday night game where they just kept panning to all the Swifties and Pacheco runs for a 50-yard touchdown, and all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, look, Taylor Swift!" And it's like, dude, this dude just had the best game of his life, and we're gonna pan to Taylor Swift. It's not his girlfriend.
The most important person there, yes, they're gonna pan.
No, I forgot you're a Swiftie, and we'll have to mute you for that. But at the same time, just like, what the fuck were they doing? Did you see the guy call Zach Wilson trash on live TV?
I think everybody does that.
No, like literally didn't say he played like trash. He literally said, well, Zach Wilson's trash to Chris Jones. And Chris Jones, like a G, was like, well, I think he played really good. He played a really good game. Set Chris Jones up to just be a douchebag. And fortunately, Chris Jones wasn't that guy. And I really do appreciate that for him. And announcers and analysts should not be. We're called offensive points. But like at the same time, like to be on NBC or whatever, sports affiliate that they're with, to say a player or a person is trash. He didn't even say he played like trash. He actually played a really good game against the Kansas City Chiefs. But I don't know. Just wild.
We're talking too much about Zach Wilson. He's trash. Joe, you went to the Chiefs-Bears game 2 weeks ago. I know you were actually there. You didn't just say you were going to go and then didn't go. So please give us a brief report from, what was an embarrassing game for the Bears. But just go ahead.
Well, it was fun, man. I actually had the cheapest Taylor Swift at Arrowhead tickets that I think were available. Because I know people that spent like thousands of dollars a couple weeks before that. Man, it was fun. Had a good day. Did some tailgating. No one tailgates like Kansas City. I've never been to a game at Arrowhead, but no one tailgates like Kansas City. And then the game started. Well, they did a really cool flyover and everything. And then the coin toss happened, and the Chiefs sprinted to midfield with their helmets on in unison. And the Bears walked out, and Justin Fields didn't have his helmet on. DJ Moore had a towel on his head. And they just kind of meandered to center field. And I'm like, all right, the game's over. This is what a professional sports organization looks like. And this is what the Chicago Bears look like. There were a bunch of Bears fans in attendance. I remember right before halftime, the Bears got the ball back, and I was just screaming to kneel it, just go into halftime, just kneel it. And they were like, nah, we can't kneel it, man. Let Fields cook. And then Fields threw an interception immediately. And then the Chiefs scored a touchdown. And I was like, fuck you, man. You don't know football. On there. So it was fun. It was a very entertaining game.
Albert says I'm nobody on the chat, and I didn't realize you had been in just yet. I thought we were just playing to nobody for a second, and it felt better. I felt a little bit better with our little lull, but I'm sorry, Albert, you are not nobody. Okay.
You are somebody.
So
you are Albert.
Did you see Taylor, Joe, or was she? Did you even know that was going on?
I knew she was there because that's what everyone was talking about. I did not see her. There were rumors that she was being wheeled in a popcorn storage unit. So
that did happen on Sunday. That did
Yeah.
happen on Sunday.
Yeah, so no, I did not see her. She was on the screen a bunch of times. It was funny because they had the Patrick Mahomes fastest QB to 25,000 pass yards. And then like literally 2 seconds later, it was Taylor Swift's face. And I'm like, can we just like applaud Patrick Mahomes
It's like
here?
but Joe, that's like the applause button. You put her on the screen, everybody applauds, and you get the reaction that you want from the crowd.
Can I just say
That's why you're in media, Bill.
I don't understand the Taylor Swift hype. Like, why are we pretending like she's larger than life? Her music's okay, to say the least.
We're gonna do every week. We're gonna do a Taylor Swift update just to make sure that
I do have a Taylor Swift joke written in, which I shouldn't have. I'm better than that, but I did do it. So therefore, I guess
every other sports podcast is talking about her. We have to be, we have to.
I hate it. So. I hate it. Do you think we'll get Swifties that listen to our podcast now? Because I don't think I can. I don't think I can cater to them.
Well, we're gonna lose them all right now because Rihanna is way better than Taylor Swift.
Thank you, Joe.
And I will fight anybody.
I don't even agree, but at the same time, it's like Taylor Swift isn't good. But anyway, let's get into something way less exciting.
Hey, time out. No. Let's fuck football for a second. You hating on Riri?
No, Rihanna's good. I actually like her more than Taylor Swift. I think Taylor Swift is just a person who sings about her exes, and I cannot wait for the Travis Kelce edition of that song. But although I probably will listen to it for 2 seconds and then turn it off. So, all right, into football. We're gonna do it, and we can break anytime we want to talk back about the Swift fandom and whatever. The Chiefs will come up eventually, so we'll have to talk about her at some point. Anyway, Let's get into a way less exciting topic than Taylor Swift. Chicago Bears take on Washington on Thursday. And if you're listening to this after that happened, you could probably skip ahead 3 minutes. But at the moment, you're here. So let's talk about Justin Fields. He put up 30-plus points last week, and you probably should see something similar again this week. Washington D has been torched the last 2 weeks, and this should be a good shootout. Now, don't get used to this because he could fuck this one up too. And then you got Sam Howell, and after Howell's abysmal performance against the Bills, he actually looked pretty fine against the Eagles, although he really does have no internal clock. So you're going to expect some turnovers and some sacks, even with the Bears defense. And then on the tight end line, if you sat Cole Kmet like you probably did, he is definitely very streamable again. And other than the KC game, he's had 6 or more targets in each game and will continue to see those red zone targets. And Washington is number 1 against tight ends, if you look at it like that. But all the teams they have played weren't necessarily heavy tight end teams in the first place. So I think feel free to fire up Cole Kmet. And Logan Thomas, not Thompson, is my stream of the week personally. I really am streaming him personally. Head for your move. It's real tough. But feel confident to start anyone against the Bears defense pretty much. But they'll get into that here shortly. Sorry, Joe.
No, you're good. Yeah, start everyone against the Bears defense. Brian Robinson is going to maul this defense. I mean, Brian Robinson's having a hell of a season already. And you put him up against the Chicago Cubs, and boom, it should be awesome. If you are still starting Antonio Gibson, you are no friend of mine. But if you're really in a pinch, I guess maybe if he's ever going to do it, it's this week. The Bears effing suck.
He finally kind of had a role last week, though.
He did.
Kind of.
He did. He finally showed some signs of life. I'm not ready to buy it yet, though. I got to see more. Roshan, we saw his snaps slowly increase and then absolutely fell off a cliff last week. Keep him rostered. This is Herbert's backfield at the moment, but we could see it swing back towards Roshan in the coming weeks. For Khalil Herbert, the Commanders are a tough matchup. And we know the Bears want to run the ball, and this game really shouldn't get away from the Bears. So Herbert can absolutely be started. Commanders are pretty tough against the run. And just keep in mind that his 108 rush yards last week came against the worst run defense in the league, and the Bears actually had a lead. So don't feel super confident about Herbert just yet, but you can use him.
What up, Rugaroo? Always a pleasure to have you.
In the chat. Welcome in. All right, I got wide receivers. DJ Moore is good to go. That is pretty much the only wide receiver that's good on this offense. Darnell Mooney is a good flex we have 4 teams on a bye this week. So Darnell Mooney could be good if you need a bye week fill-in. On the Washington side of things, Terry McLaurin is finally getting things going. He's having a very quiet season, but he's having a very successful season. The floor is very high for Mr. McLaurin. I'm actually liking a lot of what I'm seeing from Curtis Samuel. I know this is only good for like 3 or 4 weeks of the year, so maybe we're just in that stretch right now. but his target share is actually something pretty good. And then Jahan Dotson, look, the targets are there. Sam Howell can't throw an accurate ball. So I don't really know what to make of that. I still think he's a flex play for now, but if you're benching Jahan Dotson, I'm not going to blame you because it's not really leading to a lot of success yet anyway.
Yeah, I love watching the Curtis Samuel thing. Someone offered me Curtis Samuel and something else for like Puka Nakua. And I was like, dude, no,
Yeah.
it's not it.
Yeah, I mean, he's not great, but it's not so bad.
He's doing what every possum should do and try to sell high. But
to be fair, he might be listening to us. That's fair. By the way, you said great floor on Terry McLaurin, and all I can think of is Terry McLaurin. I love it.
Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin.
I like that, man.
It's a good name for him.
I'm writing that down.
I actually have Chicago winning this game. I think everybody's going to pick Washington in their survivor pool and go into work Friday very unhappy that they lost to the Bears.
Who the hell would pick Washington? This is such a trap game for both.
Yeah,
teams.
but you're going against Chicago, so you're just like, well, that team sucks. I'll just pick whoever's playing the Bears.
Yeah, but
and
Washington
this is just the way the Bears win. It would be this game just to fuck everybody.
Washington's defense isn't great either. You know what I mean? It'd be so hard to do it.
They're
Justin
terrible.
Fields. I mean, they got a couple good players out there. It's good to see Chase Young with the sack finally for those IDP fellas out there.
He's going to get 5 more this week.
And I forgot to say, Chase Claypool inactive yet again this week. Fantastic trade, Bears. Good thing you gave up the 32nd pick in the draft for that. Very, very good trade.
You can say first round.
Got him a weapon. It's ridiculous.
You could say first round.
Embarrassing.
The Commanders are going to win this game. So.
I'm gonna go ahead and break the tie for you, and I'm going to pick Chicago. It's sad, but Sam Howell.
I mean, the joke's on us with the picking that, but at the same time, like they're gonna win a game this year, and this is just the kind of dumb game they would win.
Sam Howell, I watched him, and there's a Commanders fan that you guys don't know yet who hangs out with us at the bar now, and he really pointed out that Sam Howell has no internal clock, and he just stands back there and like. And so, like, he's going to be like, Bears don't have any defensive rushers. And, like, some guy's just going to come around and just rock the shit out of him.
The Bears have 2 sacks this whole season, and they actually have a worse pressure rate when they blitz. I don't know how the fuck that's possible.
Fireball bet. They double it this week.
Is fine.
Fireball bet. They double it. 2 sacks.
I'll take that all day.
They get 2 sacks in the game.
100%.
Seems easy enough.
It seems easy enough. But it is the Bears. So, like, it's still hard.
Yeah,
okay. We spent way too much time talking about this. No offense, Joe. Let's want to get the trash can out. I think we're going to move on.
Trash can's always here, man.
All right. Well, let's get into a little London game again. The second quasi home game for the Jags, who fortunately won't really have to worry about jet lag like we did in Gulf Shores. Even though it does say the Bills are the home on the scoreboard, they're wrong because neither of them are home because they're in London. So fun. We'll get back to we really still talking about the Thursday game. Hal can play like he did last week. They'll win. He did not actually play that good, but we'll allow it. Okay.
The Jags are the home team.
I thought it was Buffalo. Oh, I don't know.
I'm just saying they've played all their games in London the last 2 years.
No, I get it. It was just a bad joke, man. I don't really care.
I don't like your Cockney attitude over here.
I'm pretty sure it has Buffalo listed as the home team, though, officially, but I might be wrong on that, too, because I just feel all wrong now. But anyway, Lawrence had himself quite a game last week and would have been better had the Falcons not just been absolutely terrible. So I imagine he'll be forced to pass a little bit more against Buffalo and should be starting if he's on your team. I imagine you probably don't have a better option. And honestly, I mean, it hasn't looked great this year, but the last game in London looked pretty good for him if he had been forced to play a full game. So, and then Josh Allen's been just completely lights out. You already know what to do with him. And as for the tight ends, I do think it's worthy to note that I was wrong and the targets have shifted from Knox to Kincaid at the moment. Knox is nursing a quad injury, so Kincaid, in my opinion, can be a viable streaming option if Knox is out. Otherwise, I'd wait another week just to see how this shakes out, as really neither of them have been viable, getting enough targets to be really a viable starter. So, and then Evan Ingram, still a favorite by Lance and is one of the most consistent tight ends in the league, which really isn't many. So you're starting him. You already know that.
Yeah, Milano is really good against tight ends, though. So, it might be a cooker as Zay Jones.
But Evan Ingram doesn't really fit the mold of a true tight end, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume
you're absolutely right
coverage.
about that.
So,
As far as the running backs go back to the well with James Cook. Last week there was some weird 40% to 30% to 30% split there. James Cook's the start. He'll be perfectly fine. Expect to bounce back from him here. Jags are a tough matchup, though. And then we're starting Etienne. He's getting all of the work. So you're absolutely starting him. Neither is a great matchup, but you ride with him. Damian Harris is still fighting a neck injury, so keep an eye on that. If he does miss his Cook, probably could be a good daily start for you. But yeah, start him.
Sounds good. Bills. Obviously, you're starting Diggs coming off a 3-touchdown performance. It was fun to watch. And then Gabe Davis, he's kind of touchdown or bust at this point, but at the same time, he's getting touchdowns. So I would just keep riding the wave. He does seem to there's one route a game that he's just beautifully run into the end zone for a touchdown. And it's just a matter of whether Josh Allen gets him the ball or not, and you're going to get some points off of that. But for the rest of the game, he doesn't really do a whole lot. On the Jag side of things, Christian Kirk is the number one on this team again. I don't know why, because you would think Calvin Ridley would have gotten that by now. But last week, Christian Kirk, 12 targets. Calvin Ridley, 2. What the hell are we doing, Trevor Lawrence? What are we doing? I don't know what to say.
At one point, they were like halfway, if not further, through the first quarter, and neither Ridley or Kirk had a target yet. And they just kept talking about it. They're like, you got Ridley, you got Kirk. Why are you not throwing it to him? And then he threw a nice ball to Ridley, and that was about all he did.
Well, literally, this offense makes you want to drive your head into a wall because they should be so much better than they are. But look, Calvin Ridley is not – ever since the first game happened, he's kind of like come back to earth, which I don't get because he should be getting 6 targets a game, whether he's open or not, just to kind of like see what happens. I think Calvin Ridley deserves that at this point in his career, but – Christian Kirk is definitely the guy to play on this team. Calvin Ridley, he's a little bit touchdown or bust, but at the same time, he is always going to be a threat to be over a touchdown. So I hope.
I feel like
I'm going to interrupt you for just a second.
Sure, go ahead.
Tre'Davious White missing the rest of the season. Jordan Poyer has a knee injury. I want to propose a fireball bet that Calvin Ridley has a better game than Christian Kirk.
Sure. I'll take that.
I mean, that could go.
I hope I'm wrong because honestly, Calvin Ridley should be the 1 on this team and Christian Kirk should be the 2. But he's treating Christian Kirk like the 1 ever since week 2, and don't know why. I mean, here we are.
Joe, I'll join you, and mainly just because I want this to happen. I'll bet you that Ridley does not get 80 yards.
Okay, I'll take both of you guys on. I love Ridley this week.
I just want
Ridley
to
will be in
yards.
every one of my DraftKings lineups if I do.
I love
will
Ridley
drink.
No, the problem is Trevor Lawrence does not. They are not sharing fish and chips on their London adventure.
Okay,
blimey.
To be fair, okay, I want to just break this down real quick. So week 1, played against Indy. Great fucking game. Ridley, breakout. We're like, yes, he's back. We're happy to see it. Then he goes against McDuffie, KC. He's pretty much shadowed the whole time. Got a bunch of targets, just didn't catch anything. Then he goes against Houston's defense, which is fucking phenomenal. I mean, they're just
better than people
all
think.
Around. And then Atlanta, I don't know why, but Atlanta's defense is somehow good. I don't know if it's the pass game.
AJ Terrell is good, but at the same time, Calvin Ridley, he's like one of those receivers like Stephon Diggs or something where he should be better than that matchup.
He should be featured more. He should be featured more is what it comes down to. You should not ever see 2 targets. I'm okay if they throw 8 times and he catches 2 balls for 30 yards. If they throw it to him twice, I'm pretty sure both in the first quarter, I don't want to see that. I want more. Yeah.
We predicted this team could, well, I did at least, predicted this team could be like one of the top offensive in the league, maybe even number 1. They're not going to get it playing like this and not going to play like it getting Calvin Ridley 2 targets in a game. It's just not going to happen. So we spent too much time on this. Again, damn it, we're only on game 2, but Bills win.
I got Jacksonville finding themselves for the dub. Sounds really sexual, and I didn't mean for it to.
I'm going to go Jacksonville.
Let's do it. Let's get the dub.
Get the home team a dub.
The home-ish team. Okay, next game. This one's not one of the better ones. I'm sorry. There really is actually a bunch of weird, ugly matchups, and then there's some really cool ones. Houston versus Atlanta. So, just all around, sit and or just drop Ritter if you haven't already. I really hope you have. He is not it. In my opinion, maybe go stash Heineke. in a deep league. Maybe one day they'll realize that this just isn't it. It looks so fucking bad. And if the London game wasn't a wake up call for them, I don't know what it is. Now I've spent too much time talking about Ritter. Let's get into Kyle Pitts. Is now currently being out targeted and outperformed by Jonnu Smith. Sit them both unless you just love pain. And then on the other side, it gets a lot more happy. CJ Stroud is that dude. We talked about him last week, and he is startable from here on out. Until he does bad, I'm not saying you should sit him. And you more than likely got him for free week 1 or 2. And the weapons that just continue to sprout up is amazing. And he's really finding them all, even finding Dalton Schultz last week, got a little bit of feature. And I think he's really still a sit unless you're desperate at the moment. I'd like to see a little bit more consistency in targets. He was a little touchdown dependent last week, but maybe against Atlanta, the defense will, I don't want to say shut them down, but make it more interesting and make Stroud have to utilize this tight end a little bit more, but also tough against the tight end. So,
yeah. And Stroud absolutely is cooking. So if he keeps cooking, I mean, Bijan to the moon either way. But the Texans have given up 5 touchdowns on the ground, and it's his backfield 100%. But if Stroud keeps cooking the way he is, Bijan could have an absolute monster game this week.
Wrong team.
And then what's up?
Wrong team. You said Stroud and Bijan together.
No, I know, but if Stroud keeps driving up the score, they're going to keep using Bijan. And
I mean, they have to use Bijan. That's the only player that's doing anything on their team.
No. It was the right team. I had the right talk.
All right. Sorry. I guess my brain took it a different route.
So a team that has not allowed a touchdown to a running back this year is the Falcons. Dameon Pierce has been super underwhelming this year, but he's gotten you double digits last 2 games. So there's that. The workload's there. I think you're going to have to use him this week, but it's not looking great, especially now with them nursing a knee injury. I do think Pierce is a guy to buy low on, so get that deal done before Sunday. His schedule is going to lighten up. So I love getting Pierce, start him, but really temper expectations for him this week.
Yeah. And honestly, the thing about Pierce is last year we saw about 2 to 5 just 60-yard touchdowns, and they have played some doozies of rush defenses. Not sure what happened against Indy, but some of these other defenses are pretty tough against the run. Finally got a really full feature last week, which was really nice. And you'd think whenever they score 25, 30 points that they would be, utilizing Pierce more, but it's looked ugly on the yards per carry. I understand.
For sure. On to the wide receivers. On the Falcons side, it's London, and that's it. There's nobody else that has value as a wide receiver on the team. London, his value is only because he's actually a talented player, but he's playing with literally a ball and chain around his ankle as he attempts to play, and do his job, which is frustrating. On the Houston side of things, as Ruger says, I love Tank Dell, and I do too. He did not have a great game last week, but they also didn't need him against Pittsburgh. But Tank Dell should be at least a flex consideration for the rest of the season, and I would definitely have him as a option in this game. And then Nico Collins. I mean, my God, guys, they have been molding him for this long, and he's finally coming out and being the wide receiver 1 that we all hoped he would be. This has been one of the best stories, I think, of the year secretly, because not anybody's paying attention to the Texans just yet. But as soon as people catch up, Nico Collins being, wide receiver 1 in fantasy right now as a number, I think he's wide receiver 7 overall, but just having that ability and on their team, it's just so exciting. I'm really excited for the Texans' future because it's crazy.
Yeah, and not to mention they're really slow rolling Mechie. They haven't even used Xavier Hutchinson, and then they have Robert Woods, who's getting the occasional target here and there trickling in. I'm pretty sure he caught a touchdown last week or something. But at the same time, this team is really good, and I think we thought this would be a year off, but it's starting a lot faster than we were expecting.
They're going to win the South. I mean, they are. Stroud hasn't thrown an interception yet. I mean, this is insane. A rookie QB does not play like this ever. And here we are.
400 yards against Indy, 300 yards last week, 2 touchdowns the last 3 weeks. I mean, the numbers are just insane. And I always thought he was more of a mobile quarterback. I thought he'd run. He has looked so comfortable in the pocket. And I mean, he'll scramble out a little bit, but he still goes and makes the throw. He's QB first. This is, no offense, Joe, I don't mean to bring up the Bears again, but this is what Justin Fields needs to be and has kind of turned into, but just not the accuracy level. So somehow it just keep getting worse.
CJ Stroud's better.
Yeah. Houston wins. As Ruguru says, F the Falcons.
I hate the Falcons.
Appreciate the profanity.
The Falcons so much. No, fuck the Falcons. And the Falcoholics, both of them.
Watch your profanity. Ruger's got a question. DJ Moore or Tank Dell?
It's still
DJ Moore. He's the one.
It's still Moore. It's still Moore. If this question was like 2 weeks ago, I might be like, maybe. But I think Moore. I think they've settled into figuring out how to use Moore better. So I think Moore is the option.
It was good to see Moore actually featured a little bit more.
Yeah, thank God.
Oh, all right. Anyway, on to the next one. I assume we all assume we're good on Houston, right?
Yeah, we're good on Houston.
Okay. Carolina, Detroit. Once again, not a most exciting game in the world. If you told me about this game last year or 2 years ago, I'd probably be like, I don't even want to watch this. But Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions are rolling right now. Goff is currently QB 11 and personally can be a valuable bye week fill-in. Although he isn't getting the touchdown numbers and Carolina is surprisingly stout against the pass, Goff is going to have those days where he shines. And he just got a shiny new toy back, and we will have more about that soon. But I'm interested in starting Goff. I understand that the touchdowns aren't there, but you know that they're coming in. So Bryce Young, and damn it, he just intrigues me so much. He's not startable, obviously. He looks the part on certain plays, and without stepping on too many toes, I really like who he's getting involved with the game. But it's almost like get a receiver on that team, and we would have had like a completely different conversation. But yeah, although Detroit is averaging 240 something yards through the air, that is mostly because they're just scoring so many points. So do not think like, oh yeah, maybe CJ Stroud, if you're in the bye week bowls and you have Stroud as your backup, it's probably not going to look pretty. So if you have to start him, you're going to probably be in for a bad day, but hopefully somehow he does something. And Hayden Hurst fell off a cliff after week 1. It hasn't been seen much since, so don't worry about him. And Mr. Laporta is tight end 2 on the year and is a clear start week in and week out. So do not worry about that. Good old rookie tight end as tight end 2. Love to see it.
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a not so big limb here and just David Montgomery is him, and then the Panthers are not him. So this should be a blowout, and Montgomery to the moon. Gibbs' workload is super concerning, especially in a game that they will be playing with a lead. Maybe he gets garbage time, but they'll probably throw flipping Craig Reynolds in there for that one. But Gibbs' role seems to be very specific. I do like the matchup, but Montgomery had more carries last week than Gibbs has had all year. So Josh was right about Montgomery. You're starting him. And then on the Panthers side, Miles Sanders, his groin injury appears to be a big problem. He averaged less than 2 yards per carry against the Vikings, who have a decent run defense, but nothing special. Chuba has looked really good all year, and I think we're slowly witnessing kind of a full-on split coming to fruition. Obviously, we'll see once Sanders is fully healthy. But the Lions have been pretty stingy on defense, so this is not the week to really play either one of these guys.
So back to Gibbs, and I'm not victory lapping here. The thing about Gibbs, and all the analysts are yelling, why are you not using Gibbs and you're using Montgomery? You want to know why? Because Montgomery's working. Like, why would you stop doing that? And obviously there's a reason Gibbs isn't in on pass blocking downs. Montgomery's doing the job. Yes, he got ran over one time. That will happen against Nick Bolton. But I just want to let you know, you should start Gibbs every week. He's a start in and out every week because, for one, he could break one. And 2, he's still getting double-digit points in PPR. I mean, you're not sitting Gibbs. I understand maybe in a Carolina game that's a little worrisome, but they play a team like Dallas or something that they need to get points fast, and Montgomery might be sitting on the bench a little bit more. So do not give up hope on Gibbs and quit saying that Montgomery is bad, because he's clearly not. I hate the analysts that are like yelling that from the rooftops right now.
I mean, he's got to be top 5 if he's on your team right now. You have to view him as a top 5 running back until we see otherwise.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, on to wide receivers. And as Ruger brings up, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a start if he plays. He was on the injury report today and did not practice. So that is something to be mindful of as you're setting your lineups going into Sunday, because if they don't have him, Goff is going to be a little bit more uncomfortable than he normally is. Jameson Williams, I'm going to go ahead and bet he's going to be back, but on a snap count. I'm not going to lie. I don't think he's going to be put out there in full force again. Last time Jameson Williams came back, they had him on a snap count. He caught one ball, 60 yards, and a touchdown. that was it. So I'm imagining this week it's going to be something similar, but it would be exciting to see him get out there and get a couple of targets at least. If none of them are able to go, Josh Reynolds is your guy. I think he is the wide receiver that you are going to want to play this week in a flex capacity. And I don't think you'll regret doing that. So we'll see how it goes. But Sun God, be mindful of what his injury status is.
Okay.
On the Panthers.
Injury aside with Sun God, I just want to say he is putting up the most perfect performance, whether he's getting a touchdown or 100 yards each game. And that is just exactly what you want from a receiver. And it's just beautiful.
Really is beautiful.
Sorry, Billy.
No, you're fine.
He looks so mad right now.
He looks so mad.
No. On to the Panthers wide receivers. Adam Thielen is that guy. Look, this is what we were hoping when they signed him, that Bryce Young was going to use him because he's actually a good wide receiver. And through the last couple of weeks, he's gotten a ton of targets and put up a ton of points. I hope this continues throughout the season. He is kind of an older wide receiver, so I'm concerned-ish about that, but I'm hoping for the best. And then the resurgence of Terrace Marshall. Last week, he went off. I mean, in Terrace Marshall standards, went off, mind you, but he went off. And I'm hoping that is that's how they're going to use him going forward. Now, Mingo was hurt, and somebody else I think was hurt. I think Chark may have only been playing a couple of snaps. I don't know. I think there might have been something where he had to be thrust into a bigger role, but I'm hoping that means better things for Terrace Marshall.
No, Chark was out there the whole game, and it was just embarrassing.
Okay, well, fine. I think that team's just going to be weird.
It is, but somehow Thielen with his 14, 8, 9 targets, it's just wild to see, and he's doing so much with them. Like when he catches the ball, it's 20 yards almost every time.
It's what they should be doing with this team. Lions win, Panthers, woof.
Yeah,
yep.
You ain't wrong.
Keep losing, Panthers. I love it. Give me that number 1, number 2 pick.
I'm sure you will use that draft pick correctly, Joe. I'm sure of it.
I'm sure we will.
Okay. Back into brighter news. Just kidding. This game sucks too. Tennessee versus Indianapolis. Derrick Henry, and yes, I'm aware I'm talking about quarterbacks, is the best quarterback on this team at the moment, and should even be rostered comparatively to Tannehill. I wish I could just put him in the QB slot instead of Tannehill. Get rid of him. Get Tannehill the fuck away from your team. 32nd quarterback, and I'm pretty sure 37 quarterbacks have played. So Wiley, tight end, not Okonkwo, got the touchdown. So yeah, tight end's dead until we get a QB out here. As for Indy, though, a little bit more brighter. Richardson may possibly experience a dip here, especially if Taylor does indeed return this week. Touchdowns are completely saving him at the moment because the passing does not look great. Although there were a few drops by Pittman and a couple others that was also pretty embarrassing. It's almost like they just don't connect. But fun thing is Tennessee is really good against the run, but they haven't faced a mobile quarterback yet, or at least a true mobile quarterback. So this should be really interesting. And you're definitely riding him if you have him until you see him fail. Because at the moment he's getting 20 points a game. I think he's QB 3 in fantasy points per game. And that's what matters. So put him in your lineup. And then, until we figure out what's going on with this tight end room too. If you find out, actually, please let us know. I don't even know. Maybe just throw a dart throw at one of the tight ends. I think 3 of the 4 have had touchdowns already, and there obviously sits redraft in Dynasty.
No.
Ugly team to talk about.
Those tight ends confuse the shit out of me. Okonkwo should be the guy, but he's not.
Yeah.
So King Henry's back. All hail King Henry. He's back. He'll do great. Tajay is getting receptions. I think he could be used in a bye-week pinch. Looks pretty good doing it. I don't know. Start Henry. We'll see about Tajay if you're in a bye week, maybe. To play or not to play, that is the question. Jonathan Taylor still doesn't want to play for the Colts. Shocker there. Moss will be the starter, I'm assuming. But we know the Titans don't really give up anything on the ground. So praying that Zach Moss falls into the end zone is not the best way to spend a Sunday. If you have a better option, start
them.
Did Jonathan Taylor say he didn't want to play?
He practiced in full today, which is interesting.
I know. He said he didn't want to play. So
I swear if he plays for the Colts on Sunday, it was all for nothing. It was all for nothing. All of this last 5 months of bullshit was for nothing if he plays on Sunday, because that will literally mean Jim Irsay got his way.
Did he
All
even
for
get a
nothing.
new contract or anything?
No,
Like a year
nothing.
deal
he
or
just sat
anything?
out for
Nothing.
4 weeks, and he didn't cost himself money because he was on the IR, but still cost himself game checks, I think. But that's it. Nothing.
I don't think he got game
All
checks
for
if he was
nothing.
on PUP, but he will if he
He got
misses
paid
this week.
something, right?
Yeah, no, I thought you said he was giving away money by sitting out. So no, he's getting paid. But I said this whole time, I don't know how Jonathan Taylor can afford to. I mean, I know he can technically afford it, but I don't know how he can afford to not do it.
Well, the problem is that I'm pretty sure if he forfeits this year, he still has that year or something along those lines too. I don't know. I'm not a contract
If he doesn't play
guy.
this season, he still has 2 years left that he could be tagged. What a mess.
And he was a second round pick, so they don't get the option. It's a horrible situation all the way around.
It's rough. Anyway, the wide receivers. This will be quick. Colts, nothing. Not a soul on this team. You're going to start with Anthony Richardson until he figures out how to consistently pass the ball to his wide receivers. I don't think you can even dart throw. Maybe Michael Pittman if you still have hope, but they're inaccurate. I don't know. There's not much Michael Pittman can do yet. I mean,
Pittman dropped a 25-yarder too, so it's been pretty embarrassing.
It's tough.
He had a good 8 reception to start the season. Tennessee's defensive backfield sucks, so I like Pittman this week.
Okay, if you want to trust Anthony Richardson, that is your.
He's a unicorn. He's a Greek god. He is our savior. I love Anthony.
Well, we'll see. On the Titans, Hopkins, obvious plays. Target share hasn't gone down at all. If Treylon Burks doesn't play, I haven't heard if he's playing or not this week. Westbrook-Akine actually did look pretty good last week. Got a decent target share as well, so could be a good, decent fill-in for you if you need somebody in a pinch.
Oh,
yeah, man. This Tennessee receiving core is just ugly.
It's brutal. And
why did Hopkins go here again? Never mind.
There's a couple of we're going to get to the other team later where I don't know why this player went to that team, but Hopkins going to the Titans is one of them. Doesn't make any sense. This team sucks. Not going anywhere. They might make the playoffs as like a 9-8 team, and then they're going to get their doors blown off because Ryan Tannehill's garbage. I don't know.
At what point do you see if Levis or Malik Willis could do it? I'm not saying they can, but
it scares me more that they haven't. It scares me more that they haven't already done it. Like that has to be how bad they are in practice, that they haven't even thought about it or given us a glimpse that could happen. It's scary.
It's ugly.
Trade Tannehill to the Jets and move along with your life.
All right. Tennessee wins? Question mark. I don't know.
Colts, baby.
Flip a coin.
We're gonna go Titans.
I don't care. Okay. All right. Let's get into yet another bad game. Although there is one exciting team in this one: New York Giants versus Miami. So both teams are coming off a bad beat. One worse than the other, obviously. Tua, you're starting week in and week out, especially against this defense. Jones is the exact opposite. You are not playing him. Although I went through a whole thing. He's a super intriguing start this week. And I do not suggest anyone does it. But if there was a week, this would probably be it somehow. So maybe have fun with him in a daily lineup for really cheap, like 30 cents or something, just for a fun breakout lineup. But otherwise, anyway, back to real life. Waller came out and said that they should be better and a little bit more in a press conference. So I assume they will feature him pretty fast this week. Usually when that happens, and he really doesn't have a better option. So let's just hope for the breakout for Waller, and you probably don't have a better option. So go ahead and put him in. And on Miami, it does appear that Smythe is the guy, and tight ends have had some pretty big plays against the Giants secondary lately. So another desperate fill-in. Honestly, I don't even think it's desperate because the tight end scape is just abysmal at this point. So yeah, put him in.
Oh yeah. If Saquon is back, you play him. Still not 100% here. That high ankle, I don't even know if he plays this week. He needs to if they plan on turning this around. But Miami hasn't given up a ton of receptions this year. But if he does play, they're absolutely going to need him to catch the ball to keep up with Miami. If Saquon is out, you're not starting any running back on the Giants. That one's easy. The hard one and the fun one, Miami is really fun. A-Chain played 60% of the snaps to Mostert's 40 last week. And to add even more madness, Jeff Wilson could theoretically come back this week. Either way, A-Chain has to be viewed as an RB1 at this point. He is the only Miami running back I'm interested in starting. And, Mostert could have a solid game, but after 9 carries last week, I don't trust it. If Miami gets a big lead, I assume it would be Mostert carrying the workload, but I don't know. I would just say start A-Chain, set Mostert.
What's crazy is I do think selling Mostert, you can't, the window's closed to sell Mostert at his highest value, but I think selling Mostert is the way to go, even if he eventually has another pop-off week, because I think this is a Chan's team, and I think we're going to just see that going forward.
Yeah.
It's a chain, though, right?
No, he changed it to a Chen now.
I know, but it's a chain, though, right?
I like A-Chain, man. It's such a great name. He actually said that's how he wanted to be called it in college or something like that, and then he changed it to a Chen.
Well, I actually watched Texas A&M broadcast just to figure out how to say his name when I was doing the college podcast, because I was like, I don't know how to say this name, and they said a chain, so that's what I always said, and then now it's a Chan, and I just everything I thought was a lie, basically.
That'll happen. Yeah. Let's go ahead and say. Oh, well, sorry. We can talk about the receivers, I guess.
Well, I mean, there's not much to talk about here. The Giants, nothing, no one. Dolphins, obviously, Hill. And I'm starting to get a smidge concerned about Waddle. We're not fully there yet because it was 1 week back from injury. I'm just slightly concerned. The target share is Hill, and then the next batch is a little muddled, more than I like it to be. But we'll see. Waddle was coming back from an injury.
Barrios, do you start him?
Very concerned about Waddle right now.
So many people.
I don't have him as a start yet, but at the same time, like
it is only Tyreek Hill at this point.
Okay, I can't bring myself to say it, but I mean at the same time, don't blame anybody else that does.
Until Waddle gets those 12 targets again,
For sure. Ruguru says, please let Jalen Phillips play, please. Yes. My IDP lineups are depending on it.
So Dolphins?
Yeah. 100%.
Dolphins. Okay. This is my survivor pool pick, so I'm very hoping that the Dolphins don't choke.
It's a tough bet, though.
All right. Another just barn burner here. We got New Orleans versus New England. And Mac Jones is still a nope. You don't start him here. After that abysmal performance last week, I guess he's still rosterable as a backup, but at this point, even though the rumors have said it's not going to happen, Zappy might be coming in full-time sooner rather than later. So let's hope he turns it around, but you're not hoping in your starting lineup.
The fan base is out on him, man. I've been listening to some Boston podcasts. They're done. They're ready to see Zappy in there.
I would be too. I mean, it's bad. After week 1, too, like they started out so hot and gone. And as for Carr, he's also a sit. He probably should have actually sat out the game last week if he didn't do New Orleans any favors. And yeah, I mean, it's not better with Jameis, so I can't really say much. But yeah, Olave with 1 catch is the most ugly thing in the world. Tight end wise, Hunter Henry, tight end 5 this year. There's not on my bingo card personally, but should be started from here on out. Farrell Brown and Gesicki will definitely still poach some from Henry, but I think he's currently getting enough right now, at least to be a mid-range scorer. And once again, tight endscape's dead. So, and then 4 tight ends in New Orleans, and they are an NO for me. Sorry, Rougarou. Taysom's always a wild card. If you want to roll the dice and play some craps at the casino, I get it. But just to let everyone know, you will probably not ever guess the right number. So it's not like there's 12 numbers that I could roll. It's hundreds.
Truth.
Dude. Taysom Hill has to be the most annoying person to roster in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to drop him in this dynasty league. I need a tight end anyway. Crazy.
He's going to cook one of these weeks, and then everyone's going to do the waiver wire thing for him again, and then they're going to put him in the next week, and then he might do something, and then people are going to do it again, and it's just going to be a whole annoying thing.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the bye week where I have to start him, and it all works out.
Ruru says Nola Media is cooking the Saints this week, as they probably should.
In a
they
gumbo.
should play Jameis, dude. I don't understand. I mean, at least the offense runs through Jameis. He's going to turn the ball over, but Derek Carr. Okay, before I get into this, 13 receptions for 33 effing yards. might be the wildest stat I've ever seen. So that tells you everything you need to know about Derek Carr. The good news is that Kamara was heavily involved and is an oasis in the running back desert at the moment. So start him against the Pats. I do think Belichick's going to focus on him, so temper expectations there. Another team that has yet to give up a touchdown to a running back is the Saints. I do not like Stevenson or Zeke this week. Stevenson also just popped up today on the injury report with a thigh injury, limited at practice. He's getting the workload. Stevenson is doing the work, getting the workload, but nothing's happening. The schedule has been horrible for him and will be horrible for him, but he has a super solid playoff schedule. So if you're 4-0 or 3-1, it would be a pretty solid move to try to acquire Ramondre Stevenson.
I was just so wrong about the Patriots this year. I really thought their offense was going to be better than this, and Bill O'Brien is just not a good offensive coordinator. I thought he was going to be so much better, which it's partially quarterback problem, but I mean the running game isn't good either. So O-line's not good. Like there's not a lot good going on about the Patriots this year. Sucks.
Well, you gotta have at least solid or at least decent QB play to have a good running back.
Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of that, wide receiver wise, no Patriots. Do not put a Patriot in your lineup. I don't care that Juju is getting a decent target share. They're so inaccurate that they might as well not even be counted as targets, honestly. The Saints side of things, Michael Thomas still putting up. I mean, it's not blowing your socks off, but it's still a decent amount to where you can roster him, especially in PPR leagues. And then Olave is sadly a boomer bust player at this point, but that's the spot we're in. And that sucks because Chris Olave is not a boomer bust wide receiver, but he is now.
Sadly. Get a quarterback.
He wouldn't be with Jameis.
Sorry, Rougarou.
Yeah, I don't love it.
And to end it, this game's going to end 10-6. Who do you think's going to have the 10-6, says Rougarou?
Saints.
I hate to go against
Patriots.
Yeah,
well,
I got the Patriots
how
as
are the
well.
Patriots going to score? Like, I mean, if Zappy was in the game, I'd be like, okay, maybe
defensively,
that's probably right.
Defensive touchdown and a bunch of three field goals.
Judon's hurt. But Judon's hurt.
Sad.
So and Christian Gonzalez is out. So it's like even that the defense is taking a beating.
Ah, shit, we should touch on that on IP pod.
So bad run of it.
Yeah. Well,
okay,
sorry about this
thank
game.
You for bringing the mood down, Joe or Josh.
Yeah. All right. Well, here, let's get into a.
What's our call on this one? We want Patriots or Saints?
We went Patriots. Me and you picked the majority there.
Saints, but...
I didn't hear you.
Yeah, that's fine. And then this one should be a good game, but it probably won't be. Baltimore versus Pitt. After one good week for Kenny Pickett, came crashing back down to earth. 1 fantasy point and a knee injury to boot. So we might see good old Mitch Trubisky in this one. But you're sitting both of them.
Biscuit
boy.
Yeah. I don't know how he didn't come back in. I think Kenny Pickett actually finished the game with the knee injury too, which was weird. But Lamar, on the other hand, had himself a day with 4 touchdowns, most of his points on the ground. And you already know what to do with him and Mark Andrews. So you're starting them both. And as for tight ends for Pittsburgh, Freiermuth is out indefinitely at the moment with a hamstring injury. And it's not like he was playing anyway, but it bodes poorly for everyone. And the Pittsburgh tight ends is a sit as well. So ugly. This one isn't fun either. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. 50-50 is not a number you want to hear against a defense that has given up 0 rushing touchdowns all year. Najee did show a promising performance last week, averaging over 5 yards per carry. If Biscuit does play a quarterback, they may have to lean on these running backs. Warren's probably the play if the Steelers are playing from behind. Feels to me like a Najee game, though. I don't know. I don't feel super confidently either way. Start them if you need to, but if you have other options, fire them up. The Steelers, on the other hand, are giving up yards in abundance to backs this year. But then the Ravens' backfield is also a revolving door from hell. Gus is getting most of the work, but they are clearly trying to get Melvin Gordon more involved. And it really wouldn't shock me to see him have a great game this week. I would prefer to avoid them, but Gus is an RB3 and Gordon is a deep league flex play is fine with me.
Good call, I think. Wide receiver wise, Steelers, I'm just putting down Pickens for now, not knowing who the quarterback's going to be. I think if it's Biscuit, there might be a couple other options that could open up. But
He
I
did
don't
play with Allen Robinson.
I know. Well, yeah, there's always exactly.
Not
That's
well.
what I'm saying. Like, I don't.
He didn't play well with him.
Yeah,
He played pretty good.
Allen Robinson is probably like shaking his fist in the sky, like, "God damn it, here I go again." But like, but like, it could open up a little bit more. But for now, I'm just going with Pickens because he is the best wide receiver on the team, best weapon on the team. So we're going to go with that. On the Ravens side of the ball, Zay Flowers is still a start. I have him starting every week, but OBJ and Bateman are back practicing. They should play on Sunday. I don't trust them. Do not trust them at all. I don't think one of the two of them are not finishing the game out. That's just how their injury history goes. And it just kind of is how the Ravens wide receivers go. So I personally would only start Zay Flowers, not with confidence or anything, but like just somebody I know who's actually going to finish the game. This offense looks no different than it has ever with Lamar Jackson. I know when they brought in dude from Georgia, they were like, this offense is going to be a spread out offense, and they're going to throw the ball 100 times, and he's going to get 4,000 passing. No. None of that's happening. This offense is still gross. They don't use any of the wide receivers. They just throw it to Mark Andrews, and then Lamar runs. What it's always been with the Ravens, and we're doing it again. So, no, I don't trust any wide receiver.
Same thing. But he looks good,
Lamar.
I mean,
Lamar wanted them to bring in OBJ, and then he doesn't throw him the ball. Like, you just want him to be friends.
You just want to hang out with him. Yeah,
like he's like a safety blanket out there on the field, where he's like, I see him. I can see him, so I can play. I can play good. But it's just joke. Oh, yes, Rue says Todd Duncan Munkin, and that's exactly what it is. It's Todd Munkin. He's a joke, and he was a joke at Georgia, too. They just happened to have a decent team at the time. Joke.
Yeah, Baltimore wins.
What's up,
Fortune Football says, what's up? What's good, boys?
We already talked about the Steelers. Sorry, man.
Welcome in, Fortune.
And Ravens win.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Win. Just because I definitely don't trust Biscuit in the spot.
Yeah. All right. Now into the actual worst game. I know. Never mind. We got one more that's going to be worse. All right. Cincinnati versus Arizona. Joe Burrow has not looked great this season. Is there a comeback in sight? If there was, it should be against the Cardinals. They've allowed 284 average passing yards the last 3 weeks. Does the comeback start now? More than likely, you picked up a fill-in for Burrow, and unless it was Baker Mayfield, you should probably leave them playing for now and leave Burrow on the bench and see what happens. Along with the Bengals tight ends who have just basically not existed. Irv Smith, I was hoping. I know he got injured too, so it's not like his fault, but it's rough. And to clear this up for Arizona, it's a clear sit on Dobbs unless you truly believe. I understand that there are points out there to be had. I just don't know why you'd want to put yourself through that. And Ertz is obviously startable and has had just a resurgence this year. One bad game, 3 great games, or I should say good games at the very least.
Yeah. Dobbs in a super flex ain't the worst option, but
in a super flex, man, but I'm just
no, I get what you're saying. I just want to throw it out there. Running backs, Connor's good to go against the Bengals. Start him. Amari Demercado has taken over the RB2 role from Keontae Ingram, who is also hurt. Just a note there.
Fish market. Love it.
Him at all. Mixon gets a really solid matchup this week. We just need to pray that the Bengals figure their shit out. So start Mixon, start Connor.
You want to hear something funny about Amari Demercado? So he was the wide receiver, he was the running back 3 at TCU. Obviously, Kendra was on top. Zach Evans, who's with the Rams now, was second, and then Amari Demercado was number 3. I actually cannot believe that Amari Demercado and Kendre Miller ended up being the 2 most useful running backs, and Zach Evans, who everybody wanted to preach as one of the best running backs in the class, hasn't even touched the field yet. Just embarrassing.
Also, Demercado, that literally means the fish market, right? Or am I tripping?
I think so.
Yeah.
Got a lot of fish talk on this pod.
A lot of fish talk on this pod. Fortune clears it up for me. Josh Dobbs over Joe Burrow. Yes, but please don't do it if you have to.
Sad. All right. Cardinals wide receivers. Hollywood is back. Josh Dobbs and him seem to have a really good connection. That is putting up fantasy points. And then Michael Wilson, the rookie who we all kind of thought was going to be a guy this season, loved his size, knew he was going to get on the field eventually, and he's been showing out his first couple weeks. I'm really interested to see what happens when Kyler comes back, if he comes back. But I think it can only mean that these two could be potentially great wide receiver options down the stretch. They're always going to be throwing because they're always going to be down. So I think these points could start racking up. On the Bengals side, boys, I'm open. I'm always fucking open. That is what our guy Jamar Chase said in the post game of last week's loss. And guys, I mean, he's not wrong. He is always open, and he is starting to get frustrated with his good pal Joe Burrow. T. Higgins is out now, so I would not suggest any of these guys that are going to replace him be a person that you add into your lineup right away. I just wouldn't do it until we at least see who's going to be. Probably going to be a popular waiver target, whoever that guy is coming back. But Jamar Chase, throw him the ball. He should be getting 20 targets. He should be getting Devontae Adams type shit going on out there. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, you have to assume it's going to be Tyler Boyd, but Io Savis, don't know how to pronounce his name. Please, Bomber, correct me later. Savis. I mean, got a chance, right? I mean, you never know with a rook.
I like that kid. He's from Princeton. He was really good at Senior Bowl. So, I mean, honestly, the craziest thing it was Icevis. I don't know how to say his name. Icevis, and then Puka Nacua, who were like really good at the Senior Bowl. And see what Puka Nacua can do. Let's see what Icevis can do, because that'd be really fun.
The name that can't be pronounced looked really good in the preseason.
Yeah, that's true. Fortune says y'all think Burrow is going to be benched this year. I think they may have to eventually do it for his own good, because he is playing through injury, and we have a really good history. We have a history in this league of players that play through injury just to kind of push it, that end up like it ruins their entire career. So I really hope that they eventually talk some sense in him to sit him down, or maybe he talks some sense into whoever's trying to force him to play. But probably need to think about his long-term future, not just this season, which may already be, out.
I mean, my issue with
Burrow, the best he's felt, man.
I was gonna say my issue with Burrow is he doesn't need to scramble. He doesn't need to scramble. Just get rid of the ball faster. Change the playbook around this. Like, you don't need Joe Burrow to scramble, get out of the pocket. Take the sack or fucking throw the ball away. Like, hand the ball off, have a check down. Like, I don't get it. Like, I haven't actually watched the last two Cincy games, unfortunately, because they were at times where I wasn't able to, but I'm glad I didn't. I didn't. They're awful.
It's bad. It's not like one of those things where, it's just, there's all these circumstances. It's just him. I don't know what else to say. That old line's not playing bad either. So
yeah, I think it's in his head. But I mean, the good news is they got a bye in 2 weeks. So whether he plays through that, at least he gets one week off to hopefully like figure it the fuck out. Because it's really embarrassing. I really thought Cincinnati was the number 1 seed in the AFC, and it's clearly not that right now.
Thought so too. Cardinals win.
I'm gonna go with Cincy. This is the resurgence of Joe, and he actually looks decent, but not fantasy relevant. Please still don't start him if you have a better option.
I'm gonna go Cincy too.
Yeah, Arizona is just one of those bad luck teams. They play a good game, but it never works out. All right, on to the actual worst game. I don't know how quite it gets better. I think literally the last 8 games is great, or however many we have left. New York Jets versus Denver. Zach Wilson played a good game last week. Should be poised to have another good one with the Denver Broncos defense. You play everyone you want against them, but you don't actually want to start Zach Wilson. Conklin is no more than a tight end flex from week to week. Once again, understandable if you have injuries or bye weeks. Russell Wilson, on the other hand, it's sad. No matter how bad they play, he's actually somehow startable. He's QB6 on the year, and it really just feels dirty, but it's actually working out well for those who are starting him. As for the tight end, sit Troutman for now. He hasn't shown anything in the 3 weeks with Dulcich out, but guess what? Dulcich is coming back next week, and he should be on your bench this week before the waiver wire goes off. So wait till you have an IR eligible. Whatever you got to do, get Dulcich on your bench this week if you're in desperate need of tight ends.
It's a good pickup, man. That's good advice.
Just trying to help it out before everyone goes, hey, guys, I don't know if you know, but Dulcich is coming back next week.
Or they'll say it in 3 weeks after he has a 4-touchdown game. So Brees is finally free from his snap count. Hallelujah. And he's got to be quite pissed off with the lack of usage. He is going to unleash holy hell on the Broncos this week. Sorry, Bomber. I'm quite excited to see it. Now would be a great time to acquire Brees. You will not be able to after this week. So split some trades out. Michael Carter and Dalvin Cook are essentially splitting whatever Brees does not get, so they are not in the starting conversation at all. We got Javonte dealing with a hip flexor that shouldn't keep him out long, but apparently has a quad injury along with that as well. He may even play this week, so we'll have to see what's going on there. The Jets are giving up a fair amount of yards, but not many touchdowns. If he does play, I am worried about his snap share because the hip injuries are no joke. If he is out, P. Ryan was likely available on waivers and could be a solid start. Not a ton of upside, though. Jaleel McLaughlin looks great, and I think he starts to eat McLaughlin into P. Ryan's work. Even if Javonte plays, I think McLaughlin's going to see more and more throughout the season. So roster him at least.
Of the Angels.
I love it.
Sarah's son.
Son. Fortune says this is either going to be a shootout or an interception fest. Yeah, that is no joke. Michael T on YouTube says, what up, fellas? Should I deal Nico Collins and Brian Robinson for Lamb? I've got Kyron Williams, Mostert, and Gibbs for running backs, Chase, Olave, and Puka at wide receiver.
You don't really need to if you have Olave, Chase, and Puka, unless you can start 4 wide receivers.
I think when Cup comes back, Lamb's going to slide right in there.
I would keep Nico. I think Nico's going to be in for a hell of a season. I would honestly, Olave would probably be the one I would be trying to float out there right now.
Yeah, I would keep Robinson with your running backs.
Yeah, I was going to say, with your bench, your wide receivers are fine. I understand Chase and Olave didn't perform last week. Puka might see a dip. But yeah, either Puka or Olave could be in that trade, and then maybe keep Brian Robinson and put Mostert in there.
Especially if this is dynasty, like Stroud is literally a rookie, so they're going to be able to pay Nico Collins a fat contract if they continue this chemistry through the whole year. Nico Collins could end up being a good top 10-ish wide receiver for the next 3 or 4 years now after this. Now, if it's season long, I still think it's Nico Collins because Stroud looks like the GOAT. I don't know what happened.
It's hard to let go of Nico right now.
Michael, hit him with the rebuttal of Puka and Mostert for Lamb and see what happens.
I would suggest that because I think you're going to get more out of Nico than you're going to get out of Lamb this season. That's just my gut call. It's weird to say. Can't believe we're here.
I was going to say, just like Puka and Mr. Roshan for Lamb. So I think the Puka, maybe this person will be a little bit more understanding about Cup coming back, but Puka could still have a huge role even with Cup. So
for sure. On to the wide receivers for the Jets in Denver. Jets, obviously Garrett Wilson. I 2 weeks ago I said Garrett Wilson, sit him. Now I'm back because Zach Wilson has decided that I'm just going to throw almost every ball to Garrett Wilson and just see what happens, which is what he should be doing the entire time. And 100%. Then I also kind of like Allen Lazard. He's a little touchdown dependent, but I'm liking in this kind of a game with Denver where it could be a shootout, maybe throw Lazard in your lineup as a flex spot. Denver, Sutton, Judy, and Mims, because that one Mims play, you're going to regret having him on your bench, but it's going to be beautiful when he catches a 45-yard touchdown. But Sutton and Judy are getting solid target shares, and I expect one of the two of them is going to do well every week and probably going to be good for your lineup.
Yeah. As I say, and Mims is just only getting better. Just needs a little bit more targets, but those deep balls are fun. I got the Broncos winning, I guess, just because.
I'm going contrary. Okay, good. I'm going Jets too because I actually think defense wins the day on this one. I hope Zach Wilson uses what he did in this last game as like a springboard into his future.
I guess I just have a lot of Broncos players, so I'm trying to speak it into existence.
And I know no quarterbacks are listening to this podcast, but every like semi-bad quarterback out there, just throw it to your top wide receiver 15 times a game. Literally, that's what Derek Carr did with Devontae Adams last year, and their offense was actually pretty good. And I think if players did that, that would make a whole bunch more sense than just throwing it to whoever off the bench. I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense.
Derek Carr's listening, man. Throw it to Olave, dude.
Well, I kind of hope Baker was listening, but this year he's actually been doing what he's supposed to do, throwing it to Mike Evans. So that's kind of.
I hate it, but it's fine.
What it is.
Let's answer some questions and then talk about some happier football games, please.
Yeah, we got good ones coming up. I promise.
Fortune says in the YouTube chat, I am a super deep league. Do I start Mims or Lazard? Funny, those guys are the guys you're talking about right now. I feel better about Mims, but
they're both the same though. Like it's like
they both have the same exact.
Do you think Surtain follows Wilson?
He should.
Lazard
yes.
could, yeah.
But
Lazard could.
I start Mims personally, just in hope for the big one.
Sauce covers Sutton or Judy, and so Mims is going to be, he's going to get that one big free play. Yeah, I'd probably Mims personally.
I would say Lazard's the 2. And
all right, break the tie.
I would go Lazard, but
I said Mims.
Not confident about that.
I just think that the big play is what breaks this game open, and Mims could do it.
Mims it is. Ruguru says Marvin Mims or Michael Pittman Jr.
It's Pittman. He's getting the targets. Mims and Lazard are getting the same amount of targets. Pittman's getting 8 targets. It's just they suck. I mean,
I think you have a higher ceiling with Mims, but the floor is Pittman.
Yeah. All right, on to a happy game. Philadelphia versus Los Angeles Rams. Jalen Hurts finally had a great game and found a bit of a groove. He is, of course, startable in all formats, week in, week out, in case you're wondering. And Goddard is unfortunately not. And you're more than likely going to have to start him. But the targets just weren't there last week, either in a game that they were actually forced to throw. Washington is good against the tight end, but it just sucks. Hoping for a resurgence soon because you're more than likely starting him. And Philly is working out kinks in its new offensive playbook. So hope for the best here. Stafford, on the other hand, has been playing great, but having the touchdowns poached from him by a man named someone that we'll talk about shortly. I hate stepping on toes. I hate going first. And the only quarterback that hasn't had success against the Eagles so far is Baker at the moment. So Stafford can be played, and you're just hoping that the touchdowns come through the air instead of on the ground. And Higbee, who is dealing with a thumb injury, if healthy, should be in your lineup with 2 straight good fantasy weeks, although those numbers may dwindle with the return of the King.
Hell yeah. Yeah, at 50.5 over under, I think Stafford is absolutely a play here. But running backs, Kyren Williams, top 3 in snap share among running backs. So the volume is king with him, and he needs to be viewed as the top option going forward. Eagles are giving up 14 PPR points per game to the entire position. Assuming we see Ronnie Rivers get a few carries, there isn't much ground promise here. But Kyren Williams was targeted 17 times in weeks 2 and 3 when they were playing from behind. So I think Williams gets some work done through the air on this one. The Rams are also a difficult matchup. The only running back to crack 100 total yards against them was the great Christian McCaffrey. So it's Swift's backfield to lose. You're absolutely starting DeAndre Swift. He looks like what we've always wanted him to look like. So.
For sure. On to the wide receivers. Philly, obviously, you're starting A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. Those are the only 2 options right now. And as for the Rams, obviously, Cooper Kupp is back. I would love some clarity on exactly how much he's going to be used in the offense. I know Sean McVay doesn't do that whole thing, but it would be nice to know if he's going to be on a snap count or not this coming Sunday. I think Puka Nacua is for sure a start. I think he's going to be fine. He's going to ride the storm. I don't think Kupp's going to steal from Puka Nacua's plate. I think the Tutu Atwell 9-target performance last week, that's where the targets are going to be coming from. And then Higbee might lose a couple as well. I think it's going to be the Kupp and Nacua show, which I'm sure we can come up with a fun name because it's like, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. They both kind of have the same letters in their name. But we'll see what happens this first game. It might be a little stepbrother-ish, and we'll have to see how it goes first game.
Is Kupp back this week, asks Fortune Football. And honestly, probably.
He's practicing, and that is a great sign. He was activated, but we don't know. But he's supposed to be back this week. We'll see what happens.
I think regardless, you play Puka. I mean, kind of have to.
Well, Puka for sure is in. It would be a matter of like Tutu Atwell, which I don't think you do.
No, I think Tutu is the one who gets booted for now, even though it should be Van Jefferson. But
watch it be a Van Jefferson game out of nowhere.
Yeah,
that would be hilarious.
Rams win this game.
Eagles.
Philly wins this game.
Sorry, I have to do it.
Yeah, you sure do.
All right, and then another good game. Let's bring it back to another fun game. This one should be an actual shootout. KC versus Minnesota. Quarterbacks and tight ends. I'm guessing you're going to want to go ahead and start Taylor Swift's boyfriend. US Weekly says that he's a good tight end. And Mahomes, even though he didn't have a good week last week, should feast against the Vikings, sure to be dead last pass defense at the end of the year. And this is really easy just all around because Hawkinson and Cousins are both starts as well. So I don't have anything for you other than the fact that you already know that you're starting all 4 of those people. So,
yeah, don't go into that one too much. Madison, start him. He should be heavily involved in the air, at least this week against the Chiefs. Akers' presence has made Ty Chandler useless, but he did average 8 yards per carry last week. Madison also had a good game, so Madison held him back for at least another week here. I like what I'm seeing out of Alexander Madison, so keep it up. And then Pacheco is on a roll, and that should continue against the Vikings. They're surprisingly good against the run, though, so do with that what you will. Pacheco runs like – I don't even know what you want to compare him to. Mac Truck is overused. He's a scary dude, so just keep playing Pacheco.
Joe, I appreciate that you keep trying to make fetch happen with Alexander Madison. It's just so funny.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm actually shocked at how well he's done since Akers arrived. I think that's what he needed from the get-go was a competition. He didn't have that whenever they let Cook go. He was like, yeah, it's mine. I got this. I've been doing it for years when Cook's gone. And then I think that fire got lit when Akers got traded.
I guess I still see the same exact person that he's always been. Like, I don't think anything's really changed. He's not going to break a big run off. It's going to be, 4 or 5 yards carry, not getting to 100 yards, nothing special. I don't know.
I appreciate that you try to keep making Cam Akers a thing, Billy.
I'm not trying to be Cam Akers a thing.
Oh, it's like the battle of the fucking shit. I think they both suck.
They're both dog shit. That's why they're both in this position. Like, that's the thing. I've admitted mine. Joe keeps trying to make Madison seem better than he is.
He has done good the last 2 weeks. He's startable at the moment. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have
like a top 15 guy right now.
All right, let's calm down. He's not actually, is he?
I mean, he actually is.
Oh, ew. I hate that for everyone.
Well, he gets 30 carries and gets about 80 yards off of it.
Plus, he's had his 20 carries.
Points. That's great.
But no, I mean, honestly, the last 2 weeks has been solid for him. I mean, I'm not against starting Madison, especially against KC defense. This game's going to be close, or at least, everybody's going to be going for points the whole game. So,
Billy, tell us which Vikings receiver to start.
Okay. A little known guy. Probably haven't heard of him. His name is Justin Jefferson. Start him. Addison, very strange game last week. 0 receptions, 0 yards. I think this is a nice bounce back spot for him, but a very suspicious game, and I'm sure people were pissed. On the Chiefs side, guys, there's no one to start. Guess who the leading receiver on this team is? I'll give you 2 guesses.
Isn't it Rice or is that Targets?
That is not right, Joe. Josh, who do you got? Who do you think the top receiver is on the Chiefs?
Travis Kelce.
That is also wrong. It is Justin Watson with 163 yards.
Oh, you're talking about yards? I thought we were talking about targets. It is actually technically Rashee Rice for targets, but yes, Watson because he catches 30.
Targets don't lead to receptions. I mean, targets don't actually get you points, unfortunately. So there's no one to start on this team because you never know who it's going to be. It's a different person every week. So I'm not.
If you had to start when it's Rashee. If you had to start when it's Rashee.
Throw Rice out there.
I personally agree with you. I agree with you. Stop yelling at me. God damn.
No, I'm just saying,
he's an angry elf.
It could be anybody.
All right.
I'm trying to preview wide receivers, and y'all are telling them people to start Rashee Rice.
I said
he
if you
had 2 touchdowns against the Bears that got called back.
It's true.
Okay.
Fortune Football says Sky Moore is the best.
That was a great starter for you, I guess, that week.
All right. Anyway, on to
probably is the best.
Who wins this game?
The Chiefs, obviously. The Vikings suck.
I got the Vikings finally getting their first win against the Chiefs this week. 100%. Fireball bet and everything.
What are you all watching?
Are you watching
the Vikings are bad. They barely beat the Carolina Panthers. They struggled against the Carolina Panthers last week. The worst team.
They got that first win under their belt, man.
They are bad.
Honestly, the Vikings, Bears, and Panthers are all in the same room sucking at the same time. That is
I got a
all
hunch.
they are.
Okay, I got a hunch that the Chiefs take the L here because they get a little too confident, and Jefferson goes for like 300
This
yards.
is a Taylor Swift thing, I guarantee it.
The curse of Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift starts today.
It's 2-0 right now. Well, the Vikings are
Kelsey and Taylor Swift break up
Bad
before
team.
this game, and then the curse of Taylor Swift happens.
At
and the Chiefs
halftime.
never win a game. All right, I'm just kidding. All right, out of the other good game, there's 3 in a row at least, so we got some fun stuff to talk about. Dallas at San Francisco. So I'm personally starting to think that Dallas's defense is really bailing out Dak Prescott. And I'm starting to I'm getting real nervous about him starting against the 49ers defense this week. And I personally think if you have a better option, you should definitely go with that. But also, on the other hand, Brock Purdy might struggle against the Cowboys defense because theirs is no joke either. It's like 1 and 2 right now of fantasy points, I should say, because it's like touchdowns and stuff. And most of these are, fluke, like the Van Der Esch, Jesus Christ. That touchdown, he just like walked into the end zone. So, but anyway, it should be a real defensive test all around for both quarterbacks. And whoever gets the most touchdowns scores the most points. Brock Purdy, I would say, looks better of the two if I had to choose. And then tight end wise, Jake Ferguson has really come out kind of out of the gate hot. And if it weren't for Laporta, he would be the best rookie tight end. 7 targets in 3 or 4 games, which is a lot better than a lot of other tight ends out there. And George Kittle on the other side of the ball, obviously you're going to have to start him, and he's going to be good in the long run. But you're hating this slow start that he's on right now, and you're really hoping for that 30 bomb soon. And I think this could be it. So you're definitely looking forward to Kittle this week.
Absolutely. Running backs, start Pollard, start McCaffrey. They're both ready to rock. Rico Dotto missed practice today, so Deuce Vaughn could get some extra work, but you're not going to start him at all. Both have tough matchups, so have fun with that.
Yeah, well, McCaffrey's the GOAT. So
McCaffrey's.
Oh, yeah, dude. Right. Fucking 50 last week. Almost won me a game that I was down by 60.
Insane. Wide receiver wise, Lamb, good to go. Probably all I'm going for in that game. Don't trust Dak just quite yet getting the ball to other people. 49ers, Ayuk is good to go. And then if Debo's healthy, Debo plays. That is the that should just be every week. I can Ayuk, though.
Honestly, yeah. Just liking the 49ers in general. I'm looking forward to watching this game.
They look like the best team in football right now. Really hoping. I mean,
they're not the only undefeated team.
They've just looked the best.
I this one out. Also haven't really played a real team yet, if I'm being honest here, but this will be a real team-ish. So neither of the Eagles.
49ers.
Either, so
49ers for sure.
I'm going to pick the 49ers.
Across the board.
Rougarou just covering up the IDP here. You're firing up every safety on the 49ers. Any D-backs in general. Lenore would be great as well from San Francisco. Bland from Dallas. It's just going to be people getting tackles left and right. And, of course, linebackers as well. Honestly, I think it's just going to be a really good game for all IDP in general.
That's what he says. Is Jerron Bland a fluke? Depends on who you ask on this podcast, because I think he's going to be something. Joe's on the fence, and I think Josh might think he's a fluke.
I want to see more tackles is what it comes down to.
I do not rely on touchdowns for my defensive backs.
Don't win me anything.
No.
I don't think it's a fluke. I don't think he's going to get pick sixes every game, but I think he could work into something more.
All right. Well, let's get into the last game, which isn't quite as exciting, but it should be a literally relatively evenly matched game. Green Bay versus Las Vegas. My apologies. Another QB surprise of this year. Jordan Love is currently QB7 on the year. And although most of his points are coming off of 1 or 2 late drives to try to come back from the deficit that they put him in, it is working for fantasy managers. So against the Raiders, fire him up and sit whoever plays for QB for the Raiders. I was really hoping for a good showing by Aiden O'Connell, but it was just awful. And you're sitting both tight ends for both teams. In case I would say play Musgrave, but he does have a concussion, so he probably won't play. And if he does, he might be a little limited. So that's the only reason. If you have to play Musgrave, I completely understand. And then Michael Mayer, not the best rookie tight end right now.
It was a good showing for Khalil Mack last week, though.
Yeah, that's the most exciting part.
Just being honest.
Yeah.
By the way,
really,
Jordan Love sucks. I'm sorry, Jordan Love sucks.
100%.
I can't handle watching him week to week.
I've been starting him for Joe Burrow because I have Joe Burrow, and somehow it's working. Like, dude, he had -1, and then he ended up with 20, and I was just like, "Thank you, God, for your fake weird comeback."
He's been getting super lucky.
Oh yeah, it's gonna implode. And Green Bay Packer fans are like, "Yeah, it's just a rebuild year. I'm really glad to see him doing really good." I'm really tired of Green Bay Packer fans. And yes,
Josh, what's crazy is I feel like Jordan Love this year is literally last year's Christian Watson. Like, it's that kind of situation.
Well, I don't know if you noticed,
things are happening week to week.
Did you see Christian Watson's touchdown 2 weeks ago where he was just standing in the end zone and got a touchdown when he came back? And I was like, "You motherfucker."
I know. It's that kind of shit that's making Jordan Love look good and Christian Watson look good. But it's like, if you watch the games, it's like,
that is elite route running.
Elite route running, standing in the corner of the end zone and nobody covering you. Hey! Oh, I fucking hate it.
That's hilarious.
All right, running backs. What's going on with that?
Running backs are easy, but I am going to have to take a deep breath on this one. All right. Aaron Jones did not do a damn thing last week, but he's fire him up this week. He's going to kick some ass. We finally saw something out of Josh Jacobs, and David Montgomery just played daddy to the Packers, so fire up Jacobs confidently. Now, here's where I got to say something. You know how I said that Mike Williams isn't good and that Tyler Higbee doesn't belong in the NFL?
Okay.
Those reactions pale in comparison to my beliefs about one A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon played 70% of the snaps last week and turned that into 11 yards. Can we stop with the A.J. Dillon thing? Emmanuel Wilson and Patrick Taylor both look better than A.J. Dillon. Stop it.
We covered this last week, but I appreciate you just fucking reiterating it because anyone who listens to last week and then this week, they'll know that it's fucking done, man.
It's Quadzilla, though.
Fuck. If you have quads like that, you should be able to run for more than 3 feet. Sorry.
I think so. Wide receiver wise, on the Raiders, it's Devontae and Jacoby. Don't overthink it. Devontae's, obviously, if it's Aiden O'Connell, it's Devontae and Josh Jacobs. That was his 2 favorite targets last week. But if it's Garoppolo back, Devontae and Jacoby are 2 really good options for this game. Packers wise, Dubs seems to be the favorite target. I don't know if that's going to be how the rest of the season plays out. I don't know if maybe Christian Watson needs a little bit more time with Love. If Love needs to, put some loving on Christian Watson. I don't know what needs to happen. Don't want to get into all that. Dubs start, Jaden Reed start, Christian Watson flex play at best.
Jaden Reed is really curious to me because he's been the most consistent of the targets. Dubs has obviously gotten a lot of targets in games, but Jaden Reed's role and fantasy points has been super consistent. Like, I know it's not great, but like 2 more targets, 2 more catches, 20 more yards, a touchdown is like all he needs to be like the dude from that team.
I think by the season's end, he's going to be like the wide receiver 2 on this team potentially, with Christian Watson being the 3.
I forgot that game was literally last week because it's been since Thursday. But yeah, that fucking touchdown by Watson. All right, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm over it. Green Bay wins, unfortunately. Not excited about it.
I think so.
I will make it 3.
Before we end the podcast, just because I forgot to bring it up when we got to it, but when we're talking about the Jets. The other one is Dalvin Cook, right? Why did he go to the Jets?
Oh, the other one of like, why did you go here?
Yeah, like, why did you go there? Like, he's not going to be used at all, it looks like. Breece Hall has been on a snap count, and he has gotten more targets and more rushes in games already on a limited account. Like, I don't get it.
At least at the time, it made sense because he was ring chasing. He wanted that dub with Aaron Rodgers. That team, literally, we all thought that, like, man, there's a chance. Like, there's like, I'm not saying they're the number 1 team in the AFC, but like, there's a chance this team makes it full run, and they still technically could, I guess, if Aaron Rodgers really is rehabbing as well as they say he is. But at the moment, he doesn't even look good. Like, what were you bringing to this? Like, I no offense. Like, I actually really like Dalvin Cook. I thought that they were dumb for not paying him. I understand they can't because they can't afford it because they're burning all their money on Kirk Cousins and then Jefferson and all the other people they're going to have to pay. But he doesn't look good. Like, what happened? And it's not Zach Wilson. It's not because they can't pass because Zach Wilson's honestly been
the O-line is bad, but
yeah, I don't know. Brees Hall's having no issues, and he's coming off an ACL tear and was not even ready to start the season, but did anyway and still broke out. Right. And I don't know. I'm not saying Dalvin Cook needs to rush for 60 yards, but
it's crazy.
Yes, this is crazy.
Joe's just like, he's no Alexander Mattison, that's for sure. I just think maybe with Aaron Rodgers, this was supposed to look a lot different. Maybe that's the way. That's why
they had to change the play call.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like Dalvin Cook was pretty good last year. Still, I mean, he shouldn't be this bad. It's just so strange that he picked this team that didn't.
My thing is if they
could have gone to Miami.
They brought Dalvin Cook in. Why aren't they rushing with him 15 times? Like what? Like if they're not even doing what he's meant to do. Wear down so teams. Weird. Like I understand it's insurance for Brees Hall. That's fine too. If like maybe in the winter months they're going to use Dalvin a lot more or something, or if Brees happened to have a setback or something. But yeah, no, I agree with you, man. It doesn't really make any sense.
So weird, but we know what's what now.
Yep, sure Brees. Hopefully, Brees to the moon.
Might be a buy low opportunity for Dalvin. If this offense is supposed to look different with Aaron Rodgers and he does come back next season, maybe go float a trade for him. See if you can get him on the cheap.
I mean, I would even say buy low on Dalvin once Brees has his breakout this year. Like spend a.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, go buy him. Yeah, wait maybe a little longer. We'll
say Algier has a good game this week and Dalvin Cook doesn't. Fucking just float out some bullshit and see if you can get Dalvin on your team before they drop him.
I would for sure.
Or check the waiver wires if he does nothing and pick him up, stash him.
For sure.
All right.
Okay.
Billy, I'm going to run through my favorite DraftKings plays real quick.
Okay, Joe, go for it.
Because I put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, I didn't think about it.
All right. So at quarterback, you're paying up for Patty. Easy peasy. At tight end, I like pivoting from Kelsey to Hawkinson. You save a couple thousand, and you're essentially stacking the board with him. At running back, we got Monty at 6,600 versus Carolina, and Brees at 5,400 versus Denver. Should be really solid. Marquise Brown at 5,000 versus Cincy has had 27 targets in the last 3 games, so we love that. Romeo Doubs, 4,900 versus Las Vegas. He is criminally underpriced on DraftKings every week, and he has loved safety blanket. Raiders have also given up 6 touchdowns through the air recently. Garrett Wilson at the Broncos. Newsflash, they suck, and Wilson looked okay. Getting his type of talent at that price is unreal. If you're looking for a Sunday morning play, Jordan Poyer hurt his knee. Tre'Davious White will miss the rest of the season. So like I said earlier, I love Calvin Ridley at 6,800. And then a defense, we got Saints at 3K versus Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones. Doesn't matter which one.
Well done, Joe.
Thank you. I went quick.
Yeah, you fucking nailed it. If you didn't get that, re-listen to it.
Yeah, and believe Rewind. This when Joe does that again.
I'd ride him.
I just love how straight your face is in that video too.
I'd ride him. Plays of the week.
All right. Joe, Rougarou, always good time. Great to see you. We'll talk to you soon. And Joe, get us out of here, man.
Good night, guys. Night, Rug.